and only Clyde Lewis.
Thanks, Ron, and I'm glad you guys all came out tonight. This is going to be something we're doing once a month. And for old time's sake, I got my old drink that I used to drink. It's called a Model Lemon Bacardi and Diet Coke thing. But I did it because I'm just excited to see the turnout. I'm very excited to be here tonight to talk to you about a few things. Now, the reason why we hold the Ground Zero Lounges is because they're meant for you. When I talk to the listeners, it's just, you know, all over the world, all over the country. It's a little impersonal sometimes for me. And I've always been the type of guy that wants to meet my listeners. And so when the Ground Zero Lounge first started, it was an idea that I get to meet the people that are listening to me, meet the people that support me and are the reason why I do what I do. And, you know, I go on tours all the time. I go to places like I'm going to Joshua Tree, I'll be going to Roswell. You see, that's when I go to them, but I have a lot of people here in Portland that have made me who I am. And you guys all should give yourselves a round of applause for putting me in that position. Give yourself a round of applause. I'd like that. Because it's you that makes this happen, and I'm so glad we had the turnout we had tonight for this. Now, a lot of the time, tonight is just a little introduction, but a lot of the time we do everything from PowerPoint presentations to special guests. When we do these things, we bring in people to come speak sometimes. And the reason why we do this is because when I'm on the air, I don't feel as comfortable sometimes discussing some things. I run them by you. It's almost like you're a committee. It's almost like you're the committee that's going to be listening to me. I'm going to give you something to talk about or think about tonight, and then I may even bring it on the air. I may not. But it's just to see what the overall reaction is. And tonight, since we don't have a second mic hooked up, I'm going to invite you that if I say anything tonight or talk about anything that you have any knowledge of, come up to me. I'll let you hold the microphone and speak. That's another thing we do at the Ground Zero Lounge. We usually have a microphone set up so the listeners can come speak, or we can have a second mic available so they can come up and speak. And so that's another thing we do too. But this is an introductory thing. This is something, I'm very glad you're here for the inaugural of something that's been on hiatus for a long time. So the rules of the Ground Zero Lounge are this. If you have something you want to say, raise your hand. If you have something you want to, you know, if you want the microphone from me, this is also going to be your soapbox to share some things, you know, with me and other people. So get a feel of what the overall people believe, what they know. I love being on the bus. I love being on the train talking to people. And I have no problem talking to people, ask them what's on their minds. It's another reason why I do the Ground Zero Lounge, because it's important to hear what you have to say. It's feedback. It's kind of like you're my consultants. Because who better to consult me than those who listen to me? And I'm more open to that. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to get to the point of why I'm here and what I want to talk about with all of you tonight. Tonight is a blue moon. Tonight, it'll be a blue moon where Mars will be right near it. And for people who are into the zodiac or into the Mazzaroth, that's an omen for something huge that's about to go down. Whenever you hear the phrase once in a blue moon, it just means that it's rare, because blue moons are allegedly rare. They're not rare, but they certainly are rare when you see a configuration of planets like Mars and Neptune and Jupiter and all the planets that basically rule us. And I'm not saying that planets themselves or the moon itself is guiding us or changing things we are, but psychologically speaking, we are affected by how the stars are aligning. We're affected by how the moon is in the sky because of electromagnetics. The moon, when it's full, you talk to a fireman or you talk to a police officer, and they'll tell you that the emergency rooms are full, and there's a lot more going on with the emergency rooms during this time. It's because the full moon actually works on things. That's why they call it lunacy. That's why they call it lunatics, because the crazy people often act up when the moon is full or when there's something going on in the alignments of the planets and the moon. I was reading today a story about a witch who was saying that something is going on and everybody can feel it. And with the blue moon in the sky, we have every reason to prepare for something that is coming. Now, you know how I feel about giving dates. I don't like to give dates of doomsday. I don't like to tell you that the world's coming to an end because that'd be too easy. It's not that way. But what does happen is that there are a number of things that align and a number of chess pieces that move, and it's all done and it's planned that way because that's how things operate. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our president of the United States, once said that if it happens in government, it was planned that way. There is a plan. Those plans are there. People want to be in on the secrets. Big things are being planned, and this is my way of getting the secret out to you before I take it to the air, if I take it to the air at all, because I always worry that we get that little phone call from the CIA like I did the time I started talking about North Korea, telling me, hey, back off. But you know what's really funny about those CIA calls I get? It's really funny about those other calls I get. By the time they talk to me about what I'm saying, I always say to them, I've said all I need to say. I don't need to say anymore. I've said all I needed to say. That doesn't happen that often. I don't want to get all cloak and dagger on everybody, but the thing is that, you know, when you're in a position like mine, you do wind up getting calls from time to time from intelligence agencies or alphabet agencies saying you're getting too far. Sandy Hook was one of those occasions. And believe me, what I said about Sandy Hook was so misunderstood by both the media and other people that I just don't want to talk about it anymore, because it just seems to me that people tend to want to read between the lines about what I say when I'm very direct about what I say, I believe. And if I'm not that direct, I always ask, well, what is it about what I said that you don't understand? What am I not making clear? I just want to be clear. I just want to be understood. And so the Ground Zero Lounge is just another way to do this. Another way I do it, I have books. I brought my books tonight. If you want to buy a book, it's available. I have a magazine, Paranoia Magazine, I think it's there. Is Paranoia there? Yeah. The article I wrote in Paranoia, it's there. It's also available. Other things over there too. We got bumper stickers and mugs and everything else. Yeah, I merchandise. I have to. It keeps this going. A lot of what I do is independent. That is why I can say what I say, okay? Don't have time to say it on the air because people tend to think that if you're in a position like this, you're probably just making money hand over fist, when in reality, it's an investment of my time and my character because I care. I wanted to be a weatherman when I grew up. I went to school to be a weatherman. I decided I didn't want to be a weatherman because weathermen don't get any respect. I mean, come on, if you preach to the people out there that you're going to make it rain or the sun's going to come out and it still rains on their parade, you're the worst person on the planet. What I do is I am still a weatherman. I'm a storm crow. When I see the storm forming, when I see things happening, I warn people. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to happen on cue, but they eventually do happen because I don't say things. I don't know how the outcome's going to be. It's just the idea that I hear things, I want to share them with you, and that is why we're here tonight. So let's start with the sharing. How many, by a round of applause, remember that there were 2 Russian planes that were buzzing our Navy's aircraft carriers in their battleships? By applause, by applause. You've heard this, right? Now, it would be the reaction for those who are listening to the mainstream narrative to say, fuck you, Russia, what the fuck are you doing? I hear that all the time. Clyde, what the hell are you talking about? You sticking up for Putin? I go, yeah, I am. You know why I'm sticking up for Putin? Because Barack Obama, the man who has the Peace Prize, is basically saying some things and doing some things behind the scenes that I think you need to be aware of. Now, I always get the story that Barack Obama is going to suspend the election and that we're not going to have anybody elected. How many in this audience tonight believe that Barack Obama is going to suspend the election? By applause. A couple people? Yeah, don't be worried. I mean, we're among friends, so if you think he's going to, I want to know. You know, that's a conspiracy theory that I kind of put on the back burner, and the reason why I do that is because I don't know if it can happen. I don't know if it will happen. I don't know if the crisis will be great enough to have it happen. But here's the deal. Look at the selection of people we have to vote for. Never in the history of this country has there been a group of individuals that are running for office that are causing so much sectarianism and so much bigotry and prejudice that there's going to be civil upheaval if somebody, yes, go ahead.
Do you think Barack Obama will appoint himself to the Supreme Court?
There has been rumors that he will, but I think he's going for Ban Ki-moon's position. He's going to be for the UN. Seriously. He's expressed, well, when he was speaking in Berlin, remember what he said? I come to you not as a U.S. citizen, but a citizen of the what? The world. So he always had ambitions to be a world leader. And he just might be that world leader when Ban Ki-moon steps down at the end of this year. I wouldn't be surprised because of all the things that he said, all the things that he's done, all the treaties that he's signed, all the things that he gets behind would make him a world leader with the United Nations. Now, it could go either way. I'm not saying it's for sure. Everything I talk about is possibilities. Sometimes I'm right on, sometimes I'm not, but most of the time I am because I see how things go. I see patterns in things. But I want to tell you now, there are things brewing in Europe right now that you need to be aware of, and if they're brewing in Europe, you're going to be affected by it. And things are so bad right now in the European Union and in England that 4 days ago, we almost went to war with Great Britain. Now, I know you're not going to hear that in the mainstream news, but there was actually an emergency meeting with the Queen and with Barack Obama and several other people saying that England wanted to break away from the European Union. Barack Obama said, you do that and you're in the back queue. You do that and we're going to sanction you just like we're sanctioning Russia. England wouldn't have it. England said, this is an act of war to an ally that you've had for a long time. And so I thought, wow, this is unprecedented. This is something you would never hear about or read about. I thought once in a blue moon, right? It's a once in a blue moon thing. Barack Obama had some very harsh words to England, and I remember when I was in New Jersey, what was it, 3-4 weeks ago. I was in Groversville, New Jersey, doing a television show for the Travel Channel, History Channel, I don't know which channel. But I was there, and my producers were all from Britain. They're all from England. And my one producer said to me, he said, who's going to be your next president? I said, I don't know, probably Donald Trump. He says, yeah, I think that's what we're thinking there in England, too. I said, but then again, I said, you know, it may be Hillary Clinton because it's the devil we know. And I said, I just don't throw my hat into the ring of politics. And he said, well, England is a little worried about who we choose because Barack Obama is betraying us. I said, how's he betraying you? He says, well, we want out of the EU. We've wanted it out for a long time because we see them as the evil empire. He's stepping in and telling us we have no business doing this and we should stick with it. And so he said to me, and there's a rumor that the Queen wants to flee the palace because she's afraid of what might happen. She's afraid of World War III. She's afraid that she's going to be killed right where she stands because of what's going on. And I'm thinking, it can't be that bad. We'd hear something about this. We would talk about this. It would be something that I would be right on board with. But see, that's the thing, is that there's been nothing but silence from Europe. There's nothing but silence from the media. Now, why is that? Because we're all caught up in the political banter and the political hatred that we have for each other. Just because one person says one thing, we have Black Lives Matter over here, we have another group over here, we have a group that wants to set up, what do they call that, the Democracy Spring? But I don't know where that went, but it's still being forged. They want to do it at a good time, so everybody will be involved, and it will be a mess. There was part of that where at least 200 people were arrested. So don't think for 1 minute they can't do mass arrests. Don't think for 1 minute there's not going to be problems in Ohio. They're already worried that somebody can sneak in a dirty bomb in Ohio and cause the RNC to go up or the DNC to blow up, or I don't know. It's up for grabs here, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. They may be worried for nothing. I'm not so sure. We're seeing a lot of fighting. We're seeing a lot of division. We're seeing a lot of people unhappy. But when a president of the United States who has a Nobel Peace Prize goes into Great Britain and flexes his muscles and says, if you decide you're going to hop off this empire that we're creating, you're going to go down. There's a reason why they're pulling out of the empire. They don't want to get dragged into a war with Russia. NATO, the United States right now, have at the borders weapons ready to go to take out Russia. All they need is the wink and the nudge to go there. But they're not just any kind of weapons. I said on my show the other night that they're putting up the space fence. Putting up the space fence because this is a missile shield and a satellite shield that they know that China will be able to take out our missiles and basically make it impossible for our soldiers to know where they're fighting. It'll make it impossible for you to get your money out of your bank accounts if you use ATMs. It'll be impossible for you to find yourself around the city when your GPS is out. It will be impossible for you to do internet, because a lot of that's done by satellites as well, and it'd be impossible for me to do a radio show. So that's one of the reasons why I'm starting up the Ground Zero Lounge, because I'm doing it once a month now, but it may be I'll have to do it like once a week. I did the Ground Zero Lounge back in the time where I had no access to anything radio or internet. So I figured the best place to do it is in my hometown. It was basically a rallying place. It was a town hall meeting to talk about what's really going on, because you're not going to get it from a mainstream narrative. You're going to get it from me. Because I have connections and people who call me and tell me, hey, are you talking about this? Are you paying attention to this? And I say, yeah, I'm going to talk about this to my group and my constituents. So, I think we all need to prepare mentally for the possibility that things aren't going to go the way we think they're going to go. I know everybody thinks that everything's all sewn up and everything's going to go as planned. Your candidate's going to get into the office. The government's going to run so peachy keen and fine. But I can promise you that towards the end of the summer, maybe around September, we're going to be seeing some changes going on, and they're going to be changes that we really are going to have to reevaluate who we are and what we stand for. Because we have, right now, troops on the ready. And you know what? Here's the thing that's most interesting about the troops on the ready, and the NATO troops, the American troops right there at Russia. The weapons they're using are not conventional. They're not weapons we've heard of. Remember when General Milley said, you're going to have to deal with hybrid warfare? What he didn't tell you is what kind of hybrid warfare you're going to be dealing with. We're talking autonomous drones that are going to be flying over the United States on a daily basis. We're talking about autonomous drones that are going to be flying over Europe on a daily basis. Yeah, I hear that. We're going to be talking about blimps that are going to be observing you because of what's going to go down. And we're talking about torsion field weapons. You ever heard of those? Who has heard of those? I just heard. Yeah. Very, very, very scary weapons. In fact, yes, what were you saying?
I'm supposed to keep my mouth shut, but my son works for Skunk Works.
Yeah. Come up here. Get them. This is very important. You don't want to talk about it on the mic? Okay, well, talk louder so everybody can hear.
He can't tell me things, but I can guess these things. And yeah, it's like 20 years from now, they might let us see what's going on, but you can imagine anything that's going on. They've done it. It's already done. They have robots that cut their limbs off and then go to a 3D printer and make this stuff and then reattach it. It's not necessarily the stuff works, but it's the technology that's available today, and people don't understand this stuff.
And that's why I've said on the air that what really irks me about the political climate in this country right now is we have a future president that's going to be sitting in the White House, and within 4 years, many of you are going to lose your jobs to robots. Sorry to tell you, you're going to lose your job to a robot. 1 in 4 workers at Amazon are robots. Amazon hires more robots to do the job than human beings. Human beings are there to observe the robots. McDonald's, they're starting robots. Wendy's. In China, robots now are at your Kentucky Fried Chickens. And they take an order and they bring it to you, okay? In Switzerland, the robots have already taken over with trucks that are driverless, trains that are driverless, okay? Cabs that are driverless. You know what they have to do in Switzerland? They have to bring the floor wage, and I've talked about that too, where they're paying every person who's been put out of work by a robot $2,699 every month for doing absolutely nothing.
So that you don't start rioting and,
Right. They need to keep the economy going. They don't want people to riot. It's the robot rebellion, and they don't want a robot rebellion. So to keep the robot rebellion from happening, they go into something called emergency socialism. You want to know why socialism is a topic now in our election? Because it's going to happen here when our innovations take over our jobs.
only if we let it.
Well, you know,
No, you can't
No.
let socialism happen unless you let it.
I know. But do you think, I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I wish I could leave it there because that's a brilliant statement. Well, I guess I can. I'm done. Have a good night. No, I'm just kidding. No. You're just ruining the whole show. No, no, no. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you're right. It could only happen if we let it. We are only governed the way we're governed because we give consent to how we're governed.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Vote the bastards.
Damn you. Vote the bastards out. Ah, but, have you ever noticed something, though, that's really unfortunate about living here now? You could have a decision, you get together with a bunch of people, you can petition it all, and you know what they say to you? Fuck you. We're going to do what we want.
Absolutely.
How do we beat that? How do we beat a Congress that doesn't give a shit about what you think? How do we do that?
The people that are there.
Do we rebel? Do we rebel?
Well, yeah. You vote out the people that stay there all the.
But what if they ignore you? What? I mean, what are we going to do then?
Ignore the voters.
What are we going to do then?
See, the voters keep voting in the same people.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And
Same shit,
the only
different
way
day.
you're gonna change it is you vote them out.
So I tell you what, why don't we go to each and every one of them? I'll have you stand there and you just go, get the fuck out.
I'd be good with it.
You bastards, I'm going to...
I'd say
How about a baseball bat? I'll bring the baseball bat. We'll beat them senseless. What? Oh, yeah, we can have Donald Trump just go, you're fired. I don't know.
voters are the ones who create the problems.
Send them to Canada.
That works. Yeah, send them to Canada.
The dead voters, man, those, you gotta count them in too.
Oh, yeah, the dead voters. I forgot all about them. And the ones that can't pronounce, well, yeah, we'll forget. You can't even pronounce the word vote?
Yeah.
Whatever. I guess vote's the same in Spanish, right? Vote? Vote?
California.
Not in California? And again, you look at the borders of Oregon, you think you are in California.
Yeah.
Thank you, Portlandia. Thank you for coming in and fucking everything up in this town. I can't get a place to live because of this damn, this flocking to Oregon thinking that the 90s are here. Yeah, you guys understand. God, you make this easy. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's awesome. That is so. I'm glad you guys are here tonight. I really am, because it helps lighten the mood. Because I'll tell you, man, you just look at what is not being said right now, and you have to say to people, believe me when I tell you, shit is going to hit the fan, and you got to know how to dodge the shit. Now, I don't have all the answers here. All I know is be prepared for anything, because it seems to me that while we're not hearing anything about our president, there's a reason for this. It's because he's behind the scenes bullying people. He's bullying Europe, he's bullying Germany, and you know what he's doing? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it. He's opening up more channels to bring in refugees in all these countries. And now, I'm not a person who has X-ray eyes. I can't tell a refugee from a refugee hottest. And that is why when 9/11 happened, I said we should close the borders until we're back in business. Because, when a business gets vandalized, they close their doors. They close their doors until everything's repaired. Our biggest problem was we were open for business after 9/11. Now, why did that happen? We were a crippled country. We needed to heal. We haven't healed yet. There is no healing yet. The scabs are still there, and our leaders want to pick at them, and we're going to start bleeding again damn soon. The only thing is, are you going to be able to handle this the second time around? I think people are tired. No, you're right. I see you shake your head. No, you're right. It's got to happen. This situation abhors a vacuum, and the inertia that we're having right now in this country, the ennui we're having right now, we're having it because we're confused. It's a confusion. And I've always said this, and I'll say it again. When Americans are confused, what do? Nothing. They do nothing. When you tell somebody one thing and then you give them another story, it's like a cow reading a dictionary. Have you ever read a dictionary to a cow? They're just looking at it like this. And that's exactly how Americans look. It's the deer in the headlights look. It's the, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just gonna sit back, I'm gonna watch my TV show, drink a beer, I don't care. We're not gonna fall, Clyde, which, you know, it's not gonna happen. We're too big to fail. We're failing. Little by little, we're failing. And once that domino is pushed, it's gonna go click, 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 and then you gotta make sure that you're not in the way of that domino coming down on you. Now, the only thing I can tell you is you need to be aware. You need to go beyond the mainstream narrative. The way you do it is you try to find places outside of the country for information. And there are news organizations that are independent. I go to a lot of them to read. There's one called whatreallyhappened.com. It's a great website to go to read about things. Blacklistednews.com. It's another great site. groundzeromedia.org. I'm sure you've heard of that one. Probably the best. God, I love you. How much am I paying you tonight? But yeah, I mean, 2 beers and a shot. 2 shots and a beer.
Oh, your choice.
I was talking with a friend of mine today. Her son is in intelligence. He's in intelligence with the military. And I said, could you call him and find out if all this stuff I'm finding out about Obama bullying England, the Queen wanting to leave, and our aircraft carriers getting buzzed by Russian planes, and what does that all mean? And the Chinese, the South China Sea. We're having problems there too. And you know what his words to her were? I can't say much. I just want to say to you, CIC wants to go out with a bang. You know what CIC stands for? Commander-in-Chief. So our lame duck is going to be quacking, flapping, and doing his best to fuck up our lives before he leaves office. So I know that, you know, I don't think anything's going to go out peacefully. There's not a real issue or confrontation that any of these bozos have to tackle. But when a decision is made where 21st century talking points have to be talked about, rather than 20th century and 13th century ideas.
What about the stuff in Syria that's getting destroyed by ISIS purportedly? All of this knowledge and all these things in our ancient...
You talking about ancient history being destroyed?
Is being destroyed
Yeah.
city by city
Yeah.
worldwide. And what the hell? Why isn't anybody doing anything about that?
Because they don't realize how important that history is to us, and they haven't read enough Orwell. Yeah, they don't care. You know, look, if it's in the sand, if it's in the sand with a camel, they don't care.
I get the point, they don't care, but why aren't we doing something, we as a world, why aren't we doing something to stop this shit from happening? This is important stuff to us.
He who controls the past controls the future and the present. And if they're going to destroy our past, if they're going to destroy the heritage and the cradle of civilization, then they can claim that they have that cradle. Why do you think Hitler went into that area?
Oh, it's been going on for...
Right. Why did Hitler go into that area? Because he wanted to rewrite history to say that the Aryan Brotherhood was the founders and that he was the one that discovered it. That attitude has not left. So we don't want to find out that we originated from Africa. We don't want to say that the cradle of civilization is in a place where we think that the religion is of the devil. We don't want that. We want to be the ones that control history. We want to be the ones to rewrite history. We're an empire. In World War II, we fought against empirical tyranny. We said no empirical tyranny. And what did we do? We organized the United Nations. The League of Nations was proposed by Woodrow Wilson. You know how far that went? And Woodrow Wilson told us when he established the Federal Reserve, and then when he did the League of Nations, or attempted to, he said, I just want to confess that I tried to fuck up the United States of America. This was on his deathbed. I don't want to tell you, but you know, I just decided I want to be president so I could fuck you all. Worst president in the history of this country. Worst president in the history of the country. Who is the first? Obama. You think? Yeah. Okay. Nixon was good until he got caught.
Carter. I actually voted for Nixon because he gave us, it was the generation where they gave us the right to vote, and that asshole got us into more shit than anybody else.
Yeah, he did. He did. Oh, and did you see that they're going to be doing a HBO documentary on Johnson? My God. I hope Cranston, he looks good.
He looks like it.
I can share with this to you because I can't share this on the air, okay? You want to hear a story about Johnson that I've had confirmed in at least 3 sources? You ready? So when Kennedy died, I don't want to gross you out. You guys want to get grossed out?
Yeah, come on, put it out there.
Okay. I warned you. So what was I don't know, if you guys know history, which I hope you do, in Washington, there was a rumor going around about Johnson. You know what it was? He had a big one. A big Johnson, okay? I mean, pulling on the ears of the dog was one thing, but pulling on his Johnson, that's another thing, right? Huge Johnson, that's what they said, right? So we all know that how Johnson felt about the Kennedy boys. He hated them, despised them, right? So when Kennedy was shot, I'm sure they're going to show that Johnson was just all heartbroken about that. You know, oh my God, he's dead. Oh my God. Oh my God, that New Deal that I was thinking of, oh no, it's a stupid idea. And the space program, what a stupid idea. Well, now I've had 3 sources tell me this, and they were very close to the case, okay? When Johnson was on the plane, taking the oath of office, Kennedy's body was in the back. Johnson came back to the casket, he opened it up, whipped out his dick, shoved it in his face, and says, all right, who's president now, Jack? Close the lid. I've heard that he either put the dick in his face or whatever else you do with a skull. I'm like, so, oh my God, this is going on the internet. I know it will. This is a YouTube. You got to give me a hand for that. Because it's going to go on the internet. It says, Clyde Lewis said that Johnson skull fucked Kennedy. It's going to go all over the place. I heard the rumor. It was a rumor. It's a rumor. Okay? I don't believe that Johnson skull fucked Kennedy. But then again, we can talk about it, right, guys? Huh? Yeah, okay. We're in a bar. We can talk about it. You're the historian. You'll remember that, right? So you confirm it? You're not confirming it? You neither confirm nor deny, right? Johnson got his Johnson.
No, he got fucked by history.
He got fucked by who? History. He got fucked by history. That's true. He did get fucked by history. And the rocket's red glare.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm thinking about rockets. Johnson's rocket. Anyway.
All right, here you go.
All right, how are we doing on time? I'm having too much fun. How are we doing on time? Oh, man. So, it's a 1:45. Hope you're having fun at the lounge. You guys having fun at the lounge right now by applause? Okay. I'm really letting my hair down tonight. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm among friends, so I can talk about this stuff.
You can do that as bird eye.
I'm a public figure. Yeah, thanks, Janine. The lovely Janine, by the way, my fiance. Give her a hand. She's awesome. What was I gonna say? Oh, I got to tell you this story. I always tell it to people who are conspiracy. Do you guys consider yourself conspiracy theorists, or do you like hearing conspiracies? I'll tell you this story, and then I think my time's up. If you guys want to ask any questions, feel free. But I love telling this story. There were these 3 conspiracy theorists who were going to a conspiracy con. And they were in a car, and they came to a railroad track and their car stalled. Train came, wiped them out. All 3 of the conspiracy theorists killed right there, dead. So they went up to heaven. They're up there hanging out. St. Peter sees them at the gate, says, guys, we know you're going to the conspiracy convention, so God wants to talk to you before you can get into heaven. I said, really? Yeah. So they waited for a while, and then God was in his office. All three of them came in. God said, sit down, gentlemen. I want to talk to you about something. And the guys were all nervous because it's God, right? You know, trying to talk to God. So I says, gentlemen, I want to tell you something. I have a few things I want to let you know. First of all, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. 9/11 was not an inside job. And Bigfoot and Elvis are not on a flying saucer somewhere. And the three conspiracy theorists looked at each other and said, boy, this conspiracy is bigger than we thought. Yeah. Hey, as we're drawing near to the end of this Ground Zero Lounge, are there any questions or is there anything anybody wants to bring up that I haven't brought up? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, U.S., Iraq, Stargate, did they find one? Is that really why we went there? I mean, obviously, we need to get rid of Saddam, but...
I would say yes.
Did they really find?
Yes, yes.
Did they really find?
Let me tell you something. How many people know the Bible? You know the Bible, some people? Do you ever remember that story about the furnace that Nebuchadnezzar had? And how they threw those guys into the furnace, and they said that they disappeared, and they came back unburned. They weren't burned. Okay? Now, if you think along the lines of primitive thought and primitive furnaces, you say, well, they went to a furnace and by some miracle they didn't die. But if you look at it from the standpoint of a Stargate, then what they did is they teleported out and they came back with something else, right? That was in Iraq. Now, does anybody know about Saddam Hussein and who he thought he was? He thought he was Nebuchadnezzar. He said, I am the reincarnated Nebuchadnezzar. So, Stargate maybe? Yeah. I think they did, because I remember reading somewhere there were a number of soldiers that were found dehydrated after they went through it.
How the hell did they get it back?
They had to pack it somewhere. But you know, they're still looking, and here's the deal. They're in Ethiopia. They went to Iraq and Ethiopia to find the Ark of the Covenant. And the Jews believe that it's buried underneath Al-Aqsa. But nobody's revealing whether it's buried there or not, but they're still looking for the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, there's a big hole there. Goes down to the ground, right?
There was and I don't remember the name of the TV show, but there was a TV show that was released about the red heifer. I don't know, did anybody see that? Does anybody remember the name of that show? I don't remember the name. I remember, I just so fleeting, and I watched it. They were talking about the red heifer prophecy, and they were saying that a number of radical Jewish factions were getting ready to raise the red heifer, then burn it, and then sprinkle its ashes at the temple, because they were getting ready to build the third temple. And that would signify that Armageddon is close. But see, we've already erected the temple in Trafalgar Square, the Temple of Baal. Not only that, but we did it near the Cleopatra's Needle, which of course is the obelisk, the phallus, that is near the gates. So this is sort of a monument, a sexual ritual where we have the phallus symbol and the gates, and it's called Cleopatra's Needle, but it's also called the key, the Osiris key. So it's a key to open the gates. Open the gates to where? Well, if it's Baal, let's open the keys to gates to the horned one. And then it's so interesting that the Nash building that's right near Queen Elizabeth's palace, they erected a statue of Pazuzu. Does anybody know who Pazuzu is? Pazuzu is the demon of pestilence. He's the demon you saw in the movie The Exorcist, the winged demon. And he's standing there at the Nash building, and everybody can see him, and no one knows why it's there. But why now are we focusing on erecting these demonic statues? In fact, in Oklahoma, they're going to erect a statue of Baphomet. And that Baphomet is going to have little kids surrounding him. He's another incarnation of the devil. And you know what I thought of when I saw that statue? That scene in Childhood's End where Corellin comes down as the devil, and these kids are all standing around him. That symbology, that symbolism means something. I mean, we are opening up and entertaining the idea that we can unleash greater demons now than we've ever released in any epoch. There are magicians and all kinds of people working their alchemy. And it sounds crazy, but it's not what you believe. It's what they believe. And if they believe that Cleopatra's Needle is going to open up the gates of hell, and whoever walks through those gates is your Antichrist, who's going to question it?
But they're not gates of hell, though, is my point. It's
What-
just like what they're messing with the CERN, right? When
But why aren't they gates of hell?
well, they're not gates of hell, it's gates of different dimensions. It's just like...
Well, but CERN, of course, is scientific magic. It's the blend.
This is just different because they just have different means.
Okay, but what's the difference between what they're doing with that needle and the gate there in Trafalgar Square? What's the difference between that and what Crowley did when he tried to summon that alien named Lamb? What's the difference between that and what Jack Parsons did with L. Ron Hubbard in the deserts of New Mexico when they tried to bring something else in? What's that?
They're trying to still sit there and get to different dimensions because they already proved there are other dimensions that exist.
Yeah.
So then maybe that was the way back in those days to get through different dimensions.
When I bring up CERN, and that's another thing I want to bring up with you guys, something is going to happen, and you guys, I want you all to be a part of it. On July 4th, I am going to be a part of a demonstration. What is it? July 5th, sorry. July 5th, the day after Independence Day, I am going to be involved with an experiment with Marshall Barnes. Remember when Marshall Barnes was on the show? Anybody? He was a physicist who said that he has created or he's invented time warp, or he's invented warp drive, time machine. He's coming to Portland for you, and he's going to demonstrate how he makes a vortex, how he makes a Rosen bridge. He's going to show us how he can bend light to go into space into multiverses. And he's going to project an image of me, and he's going to send me into the multiverse.
So where's this going to be at?
Probably, we're working on either OMSI, or we're going to work on it over at the Skype lounge, or the Skype studio. And so he wants a lot of people to be there because his demonstration is going to be unique. But creating a small wormhole, and you're going to be watching things going into the multiverse. You don't want to be next to it? Yeah, you have your guy do, oh, wait a minute, the aliens can see my hand over there at Planet Zagreb. No, that's what I'm wondering, is if the image of me is going out into the multiverse, who's going to see it? And are they going to go, here is our new god. He's a hairy man with a big voice. I see. Thank you. And wears glasses, yes. This is my Clark Kent phase. This is where I'm Lewis. Hi, I'm Lewis. Lewis Holder the 13th. Lewis Clyde Holder the 13th. And then when I take them off, I'm Superman. I'm Clyde Lewis. Anyway, so I'd like you all to be there because this is going to be a big deal. In fact, we're talking Tonight Show big deal, hopefully. You know, I don't know if I'm going to wind up on the Tonight Show. I don't know, but they're saying that this is going to be the biggest thing Ground Zero has ever done. And having a real physicist telling us that he's going to demonstrate time warp, a real physicist, a real physicist. Not some fake guy I picked up near the dumpster. I'll be a physicist for $20. No. I've done that before. I'm just kidding. No, I haven't. You want to be a physicist? I got $20. I'm your physicist. I'll be your physicist. Yeah, so he's coming out, and he's going to do this, and I'm excited, and I want you all to be excited about it, because this is probably the biggest thing that ever happened to Portland. Really. For real.
What's the dates on that?
July 5th. I'm going to Roswell. I'll be there for the Roswell celebration. I come back on the 4th of July, and then I do this. I'll have all you there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be,
Going to Alien Con?
I'm going to, where's Alien Con? Over in Roswell?
No, down in Santa Clara.
I didn't know there was an Alien Con. Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't know if I'm going, but I'll look into it.
Last weekend in October, it's got everybody supposed.
I'm going to Contact in the Desert, which will be at the end of this month. Joshua Tree. And if you can go there, I'd like to see you all there. They say it's the Woodstock for UFO people, so, you know, I don't know, bring your drugs. Who knows? Don't take the brown acid, you see the reptilians. What's that? Don't take the mushrooms. You'll go up in a spaceship, man. With a peyote. The peyote, man. All right. So I'm out of time. What did you think of the first Ground Zero Lounge, guys? After a long time. I want to thank you all for coming out. Well, you have a question? They only give me an hour. And then you guys can all drink and eat, and then they're going to have karaoke, and then you get to hear me sing.
We got books, magazines.
And we got books, magazines, and things you can buy, and I'll sign stuff. Okay, cool. I'll sign things.
Can you take questions off the record?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Off the record.
Oh, you mean backstage? You need a backstage pass for that. I only give them to hot women. I'm just kidding. God. What? Oh, stop. I'm spoiled with my fiance, so I can tell when you're faking it. I really can. Oh, baby. I heard that. That's amazing. Thank you. Hey, thank you. This is one of my favorite bars. It's been Janine and I come here all the time. We love the karaoke. We love to party. We love to have fun. So, drink up, guys. Stick around, because when we karaoke, it's going to be cool as hell. I promise you. I promise you. And I want to hear you guys sing, too, because that's what it's for, is to sing and have some fun. So let's have some fun. Come on by. I'll be here signing stuff and everything. There is a small charge for the things that I'm buying and selling. I want to warn people. Say, I thought I could get this for free. Well, no, it puts me through college. Because I'm stupid. Anyway, thank you all for coming out, and be sure to come by and say hello. I'll be sure to talk to you, so take care.